All right, guys. So for today's class, we are going to review all the percent stuff we've been over, primarily the discounts, the markups, the percent change, things that we've been doing. So if you haven't yet, please download the applying percents worksheet that you see on my screen. This is on Google Classroom. When we're done with this, so this whole class period, we're just going to go through these 10 questions on this worksheet. And when we're done, you guys will be ready to submit this on Google Classroom and you won't have any math homework tonight. So we'll go ahead and get started. And like I said, I'm recording this because I know some people are joining a little bit late. So if you miss one or two questions, you can always go back and watch that video that I'm going to be posting probably 10 minutes or so after class is over. That video should be ready to go. So we'll start with number one. Number one says the original price of a skateboard is $50. The sale price includes a 20% discount. Use two different methods to find the sale price of the skateboard. All right, so we've talked about two different ways that you could solve for this. One of them just a little bit longer than the other. And so when it says use two different methods, the first method that I taught you was just to go ahead and use this 20% coupon right there. And so if we take 20% of the price of the $50 skateboard, that'll tell us how much money we'll save using the 20% off. And so 20% is the same as 0.2 of means times, and 0.2 times 50 is 10. So that's not the price of the skateboard. That's how much we're going to save with the discount. And so now we would take the $50 skateboard and just subtract that $10 from it. And so what would that make the price of the skateboard? Anybody?
$40.
$40. All right. So there's one way you could do it. By the way, if you're just joining us, this worksheet we're going through is on Google Classroom. Download it to Notability, and we are going to work all 10 questions through class. So by the time class is over, you'll be done with this. Hannah, you have a question.
May I use the bathroom, please?
Sure. Mute yourself, though. All right. So the second way that you could do this is by taking the shortcut. And so the shortcut is not to use the 20%, but to subtract. And this is the part you could probably do in your head. Subtract the 20% away from 100% to know what percent you're going to pay. And so if you do that, that tells us we're just going to pay 80% of the price. This will jump us right to our answer. And so if we do 0.8 times 50, that will give us, I'm just going to confirm this, make sure we got this, 0.8 times 50 is $40. So whether we use the shortcut or the slightly longer way, we should end up with the same answer of $40 for number one. Okay, so there's two different methods to solve for number one, using the discount shortcut and then a little bit slightly longer version. Again, if you're just joining us, we're using or download the applying percents worksheet from Google Classroom, and we're working through it together. And when we're done, you can submit this to Google Classroom after you finish it, and you'll be done with your homework for today. All right, let's move on to number two. Number two says the discount on a DVD is 40%. It's on sale for $10. What was the original price of the DVD? Oh, I knew that was going to happen. My light shut off. Do some jumping jacks here, get those lights going. Okay, so instead of multiply to find the original or to find the sale price, this one's going to have us work backwards. And you might remember doing this in class Friday. If we're working backwards, that means we're going to have to divide. So what we'll do is we'll take this 40%. And if the discount is 40%, that means the percent that we paid on it is 60%. So if the DVD is 40% off, we're going to have to pay 60%. So instead of doing like what we did in the shortcut, taking that percentage and then multiplying it to the price, we are going to take the percentage and divide it away from the price. So we're going to take $10 and divide it by 60%, which is 0.6. And then 10 divided by 0.6 will give us a price of $16, and then it's 0.6 repeating. But if we're talking about money, we want to use 2 decimal places. So we know the next digit's going to be a 6. We know the next digit's going to be a 6. But if I want 2 decimal places, that third digit is actually going to bump that previous one up to a 7. So we would round this to $16.67. Okay. Again, if you're just joining us, we are working through the Applying Percents worksheet, which is on Google Classroom. It's your homework tonight. We're going to finish it. There's only 10 questions on it. We're going to finish it by the time this class is over, and then you can submit it to Google Classroom as soon as we're done with it, as soon as you finish it. If you missed some questions, I'm moving on to number 3. If you missed some questions, I'm recording this so you can, because I know some people are joining late, you guys can go back and get those questions you may have missed. Number 3, a store pays $75 for an aquarium. The markup is 20% to markup. So think about what a markup is going to do. Is a markup going to increase or decrease the price?
Increase.
Increase it, yeah. Hey, Ezra, I see your hands up. What's up?
Could I go check to see if I have a calculator?
Yes. Yeah.
So
So
I'll be back.
okay, so there's also a shortcut for markups. Now, we said the shortcut for a discount is if something is discounted 20%, that just means you're going to pay 80% of the price. You can subtract away from 100 because discounts save you money. But since markups increase the price, take this 20% and add it onto the 100% full price that they paid for it. That means you are going to pay 120% of the price of that $75 aquarium. They paid $75 for it. You're going to pay 20% more than what they paid for it. So 120%, which is, as a decimal, 1.2. And by timesing 75 by 1.2, you're going to see the price go up to $90.
Sir, may I be excused? I need to let my dog out.
Yes.
I'm back.
All right, number 4. Number 4, you buy a shirt that's on sale for 30% off. You pay $22.40 for it. Your friend wants to know what the original price was. So what was the original price of the shirt before the discount? So just like number 2, anytime where they're asking for the original price, I'm going to have to work backwards. And so, but when I say backwards, that means instead of multiplying like we do to find the sale price, if you want to go back in time to find the original price, you're going to have to divide. And so what we'll do is we'll take the price that you paid for the shirt, which is $22.40, and we're going to divide it by the percent that we paid for it. So again, that's not 30%. It's 30% away from 100%. So if it was 30% off, who can tell me what percent we paid for it then? Nick?
70.
Go, anybody, just shout it out.
70%.
70%, exactly. So if it's on sale, 30% off, you're paying 70% for it. So instead of multiplying by 0.7, we're going to divide by 0.7 because we're going back in time. Okay, so 22.40 divided by 0.7 or 0.70, same thing, will give us $32. Okay, so there's another problem that we had to work backwards on. You don't need to write that down, but I just wanted to let you know that's why we're dividing on number 2 and on number 4, because we're working backwards. Number 5. Number 5 says the original price of a book is $35. I'll zoom out so you can see number 4 still. The original price of a book is $35.45. The sales tax is 7%. Now, we talked about this a little bit on Friday, at least in most of my classes. 7% is the sales tax rate anywhere in the state of Indiana. So on almost every single product that you buy, you're going to have to pay an extra 7%. Okay. That doesn't mean that 7% of the price goes to the state of Indiana. It means an additional 7%. So it's not like they're just taking 70% of the $40 you paid. They're going to charge you an extra 7% on that $40 that you pay. And so think of sales tax like a markup. Okay. Sales tax is like a markup. It's going to increase the price. So that's why if mom gives you a $20 bill and you go buy something that's $19.87, you're not going to have enough money for it because the sales tax is going to increase that price up. So if sales tax is 7% in Indiana, there's a shortcut for sales tax, and it's just like our markup shortcut. This is what I was going to pay full price. I'm going to have to pay an additional 7% in sales tax, which means any item, in the state of Indiana, other than some food and hygiene items, will cost you an additional 7% or a total of 107%. So a shortcut, if you want to know what something's going to cost you at the counter, take the price of the item that you're going to buy and times it by 1.07. That's for anything. Okay. So this is a real life, problem you could do. If you're going to the store, you're at the gas station, you just ran in to grab a bottle of water and a bag of chips, times it by 1.07, that's what you're going to pay for it, right? Add those prices up that you see on the tag and then times it by 1.07. So here, excuse you. The book costs $35.45. So we're going to times that by 1.07. $35.45. And so 35.45 times 1.07 is going to give us a price of, I'm going to have to round this, $37, and it says 9315. Now again, with money, we only use 2 decimal places. So I'm going to look at this third decimal place. Can someone tell me if that 1 is going to bump the 3 up to a 4?
No.
No.
Okay, so I can just erase it. And there's my answer then. My notability is glitching, probably because I'm on Zoom right now. Okay, so again, 1.07. If you would have just done 0.07 or 0.07, that would have given you just the price of the tax. Some questions may ask you for that. This one though says, what's the total price? So because it says, what's the total price? We don't need to mess around with 7%. We can just jump right to 107%. And that's the shortcut you can take with sales tax anywhere in the state of Indiana. Now, if you go into another state, some states have 6%, some states have 7.5% or some other different rates. But if you're in Indiana, you're going to pay 7% sales tax on almost everything you purchase. And so that's how you apply. You just take whatever you're buying and times that by 1.07. 1 because you're paying full price, and the 0.07 because that's going to bump it up just a little bit. Here, actually, the difference is just over $2, right? About $2.50. The larger items you buy, for example, I just bought an Apple Watch for my wife and I because that was our anniversary gift to ourselves. We kind of waited a little bit to get that. A bigger purchase like that is going to have a larger, I think I paid like $40 in sales tax. 7% off of a bigger item is going to be more money. Okay. 7% off of a dollar item, like a dollar item off the McDonald's dollar menu, is just going to be 7 cents. So it's a smaller tax. Okay, so number 6, you earn $650 per week selling paper products plus 9.5% commission on your sales. This week, you sell $2,400 worth of paper products. How much money do you make this week? Okay, so let's start with this amount. We know that no matter how much we sell, we have a salary of $650 per week. That's actually really good. So we'll start with $650. And we're going to add that on to our commission. So we have our commission, and then we have our salary. So if you work a job in sales, I don't know if you guys are big fans of The Office. That's what inspired me for this problem, because The Office, Dunder Mifflin sells paper products. But anywhere in sales, car sales, maybe just about anywhere where you're selling things, a lot of companies will offer commission. And so what that means is on top of your salary, they're going to give you an incentive to sell their product. So this person gets to keep 9.5% of everything they sell. So the more they sell, the more they get to add on to their paycheck. It's an incentive for being a good salesperson. If you're not a good salesperson or good people person that can really sell things, you're not going to earn that commission, which means you probably won't have as big of a paycheck and you might want to consider some other career path, right? Ashlyn.
I couldn't figure out how to get on, and so I finally figured it out.
Okay, well, I've recorded the first 5 problems. I'm recording this whole thing because I know some people were late getting on because they were in social studies. So if you missed any of these, check the recording. I'm going to post right after class. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. We are currently working on the applying percents worksheet, and we're going to finish it. We've only got this problem and 4 more to do. We're going to finish it, and you guys will be done. You'll be ready to post this as soon as you get it copied over on Notability, and you'll have no homework tonight then.
Sir, you know how you were talking about the office?
Yes.
I had this cup for a while. It had Michael's face right here on it, and it says, "That's what she said."
Which is a very popular line from the movie. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So to find the commission that a salesperson would make here, it says 9.5%. So we need to figure out what 9.5% of their sales were. Now it says they sold $2,400 worth of items. And so 9.5%, if we bump that decimal back 2 spots, is going to give us a decimal of 0.095. Times 2,400. 0.0, I'm using my calculator here. I know you guys can't see on my screen, but I can't do these in my head. So I hope you guys are able to use a calculator at home for the next few days. Okay, so that's $228. That's how much they get to make on top of their salary, which of course was $650. So if I add the $650 onto that, who can tell me how much the salesperson's taking home this week? Just go ahead and shout it out when you got it.
$878.
That's right, $878. Take their commission that they made, add it on to their salary. Okay, we're ready for number 7. Number 7 says the Panthers, this is us, won 62% of their games. They won 93 games. How many games did they lose? Oh, so there's an added twist here. Okay, how many games did they lose? Well, I'm going to turn this into a per sentence. This is something else we've been studying in this chapter. Okay, so if 93 wins, if 93 was 62%, it says, of their games. I know that's not a question, but I can turn each part of that into an equation. And so we'll start with the 93. That's how many games they won. And then it says was. Was is the past tense of the word is. And can someone tell me what is means?
Equal.
Equals, yeah. So 93 wins equals 0.62 of their games. And so now we can just take 0.62 and divide it from both sides, just like we did on our per sentences worksheet. Because G is not by itself, we want to divide that. And so 93 divided by 0.62 is going to give us 150. So G is equal to 150 games. Now, if the question said, how many games did they play? We'd be done. We know how many games they played, but it says, how many games did they lose? Well, assuming that there are no ties and they won 93, I could just take away the 93 wins and whatever's left over is the number of games they lost. So who can tell me what 150 minus 93 is?
57.
57. So yeah, there were 57 losses for that one. losses. There is another way you could do this. Not that you necessarily would need to, but if they won 62% of their games, if you do 100% minus 62%, and maybe some of you were thinking this, 100 minus 62, 100 minus 62 is just 38%. That means they lost 38%, and we could have just used 38% instead of 62% and gotten our answer. Or we could even set up a proportion, because 38% means 38 out of 100. And so if they lost 38%, that means they would have lost 38 of 100. And so we could have figured out, you know, if they won 93 games, we could have figured out, okay, so 93 out of what? And that would have given us the total number of games. And then we could have worked number of losses and stuff like that. Okay. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8, you predict that 25 students will come to tonight's meeting. The actual number of students who came is 32%. So this is a percent error problem.
Get over.
Lucas, could you keep your mic muted for me? Thank you. Okay, so percent error is difference over actual. Remember, difference over original would be percent change. This is percent error. So if you predict 25 students come and 32 students come, that's a difference of how many? How many students were we off by? Anybody?
7.
Yeah, we're off by 7. So 7 students, that's the difference. And of course, the actual number of 30
7.
is going to go on bottom. So we'll turn 7 over 32 into a decimal by doing top divided by bottom. And then we'll turn that into a percent. So it's percent error and not decimal error. That's going to be 21. And then if it doesn't tell you what to round to, a good rule of thumb is just round to 1 decimal place after that. So I'm just going to go 1 decimal place, which is the 8. However, this 7 is going to bump the 8 up to a 9. So we'll say this is just close to 21.9% error. Again, I'm rounding to 1 decimal place because it didn't tell me what to do, what to round to. So I'm just going to assume 1 decimal place. All right, number 9. Your bill, oh, I guess the bells are still working. Your bill for dinner comes to $48.25 after tax. You want to tip a 15% tip to your waitress. What is the amount of your tip to the nearest hundredth? So if we're tipping 15%, so if you've been in a sit-down restaurant before, you probably have seen your parents tip a waiter or waitress. This is something that's expected when you're sitting down to dine. Right? So 15% is pretty customary. That's kind of like where you would start. You're welcome to tip more than 15%. Some people tip 20% pretty regularly, or 25, or somewhere between there. I know when I go to Chili's, for example, and I pay with a little thing on the table that's got a little screen, it'll let you scroll to exactly what percentage or what dollar amount you want to tip to. But let's just say I'm not at Chili's and I don't have that screen. If you want to tip 15%, we just need to find out what 15% of your bill is. Okay, not 115%. This isn't a markup, and it's definitely not a discount. This is I just want to know what 15% of my meal is. And so I'm going to do 0.15 times 48.25. And that is $7, and it says $23.75. There are the lights again. Is that going to round to $7.23 or $7.24? Go ahead and shout it out when you think you know.
24.
7.24.
That's right. So I'm just going to erase those, change this to 24. So for those of you that are wondering where those decimals went, I don't need them because I always do 2 decimal places when I'm working with money. So I would tip $7.24 if you want to do 15%. You're welcome to leave $8, right? That would be more than 15%, which is, you know, I'm sure they would like that. You can leave exactly $7.24. Most people don't carry a whole lot of change with them anymore. But yeah, you could tip, or a lot of people actually pay with their credit card as well. So then you could tip whatever amount you want to, and it just gets charged, added on to your credit card or your debit card. So that's how you tip. If you want to tip 20%, times it by 0.2. You want to tip 25%, times it by 0.25. That's how much you would tip. So altogether, the total cost of your meal would be $55.49, if my math is correct. But the tip goes to the waiter. And that's what they get to take home. So a lot of waiters and waitresses actually don't make minimum wage because the tips are calculated as going to be part of their salary. So you want to at least start with 15%, but you're welcome to do more. All right, our last question is number 10. This year, the population of a town is 18,000. Next year, the population of the town is 18,360. What is the percent change? Okay, so for percent change, difference over, and this one's original. Difference over original. We've already done percent error. That was difference over actual. Difference over original. So can someone tell me what the difference in those two populations is from one year to the next?
360.
Yeah, you probably don't need your calculator to subtract 18,360 minus 18,000. The original population is the one that comes first. So we're not looking for an actual. We're looking for the original population, which is 18,000. And then top divided by bottom will give us that as a decimal. Oops. And that should give us 0.02. And can someone tell me what that is as a percent?
2.
2%. Awesome. Okay. So we have reviewed quite a bit with this worksheet. We just did percent change. We did percent error. We did sales tax and tipping your waiter or waitress. We also reviewed a percentance in here. We did discounts and markups. We even worked backwards on 2 problems. You can see here we worked backwards to solve, to find the original price. So if you joined late on this Zoom, I've recorded this, and as soon as class ends in 30 seconds or so, I'm going to hit stop. It's going to download, and then eventually here in about 10, 15 minutes, I should get this video onto Google Classroom for anybody that wasn't able to join on time or join at all. So for those of you guys that survived all 10 questions, made it here on time and went all the way through, if you've got this written down on Notability, go ahead and upload. Hey, look at that. Go ahead and make sure you upload this on Google Classroom to the assignment that says applying percents worksheet, and you're done with your homework for today. Just a reminder before you leave that tomorrow we are going to be Zooming, and it will be mandatory for everybody. And so I'm going to share with you real quick. let me stop this. And in case you didn't get my email, this is the schedule that we're going with for Tuesday and Wednesday. So really your guys' classes don't start until 8 o'clock. That's going to be period 1. It's kind of a mixture of a Wednesday schedule day and a 2-hour delay because all the classes are 30 minutes. And so 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. period 1, you get 10 minutes to use the restroom or whatever you got to do. Period 2 starts at 8:40. Period 3 is your extension or encore class. Period 4, also extension, encore, choir band. Those also are part of the encore now. I just talked to Mr. Horrell. Mr. Horrell said that you do not need to log into a Zoom for your study hall SLT. So that is just work time for you guys. You guys get a half hour before lunch. So you get an hour lunch here that you guys can work on homework, get your food, whatever. And then we'll pick back up at 6:20, or it's not 6:20, period 6, which starts at 12:20. For a half hour, and then we'll finish the day with period 7 from 1 to 1:30. So there's the schedule we're using for for Tuesday and for Wednesday. So make sure you guys are all logging in. I'm sure teachers will probably start their Zooms around 7:25 or so that you guys can all get logged in. If you have questions, email us. And I wanted to make an announcement. If you are a student that goes to Mrs. Austin or Mrs. Maynard's room, their Zoom is starting right now, and you're probably going to get a link for that. So for the rest of you guys, have a great day. Email me if you got questions, and take care. You're dismissed.
I emailed you, but I mean, it doesn't really matter because I figured out how